one time I'm gonna actually suggest going to the Thursday show. Actually, even though I always suggest it, but this one I really want to, because this is Canada, and this is a place I feel like Ruby would be way more knowledgeable on than I would, because I'm just gonna read through this video and tell you my thoughts. I could be totally wrong. So go to that Thursday video on June 22nd and listen to whatever Ruby got to say, because her opinion doesn't matter. But I'm going to tell you mine right now so y'all can agree with me and y'all can form your own thought on how you feel about this. But as y'all can see the title, this is about MAID, essentially, and how it evolved into something that some people don't agree with. Shout out to Biggie Boss for bringing this up and sending it to me, saying this is very interesting to him. And how it really was supposed to get cut back this year. Didn't? So now it's a story. So let's go listen to BBC Newsnight. Shout out to BBC Newsnight. PBS NewsHour too. So.
Today, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau introduced legislation to legalize physician-assisted suicide.
It's a deeply personal issue that affects all of us.
Some believe it is their only option.
We are very concerned about the exclusion of individuals with mental illness.
No one should be faced with such an impossible choice.
Deeply personal, deeply divisive. The question of who should be allowed assisted dying has driven up tensions in Canada. Canada first introduced...
By the way, I think it's finna go over this in this video, but in America, let's go over my American brain. Usually, you can only do this, and not even in all states, but in a lot of states, only when it's like dire consequence, like, you know, the pull the plug thing and all that. So this is what this originally was, and it went further. So it might be an American problem sooner or later, because this is fairly a new problem, I think. But we're going to go over the numbers right now, because I'll do this.
Medical assistance in dying, or MAID, where medics can help people end their life, in 2016. At the time, it was only open to those whose natural death was reasonably foreseeable. For example, patients with terminal cancer.
Yeah, if you got terminal illness, it makes sense.
5 years later, the law was extended to adults who had a serious incurable illness or disability if they were in an advanced state of decline and endured intolerable physical or psychological suffering. It was, however, not open to those with only a mental illness.
Okay, I want to go tell y'all something personal real quick. This is interesting because I had this situation happen. I'm going to go over a little later in the video, but I had this situation happen. So I'm going to tell you my thoughts on how I feel about it. And I had this exact situation with something like, they basically sit there and tell you, like, oh, he don't have to come back no more. Your father don't have to come back. He come back in 6 months, but he been coming every month for 3 or 4 years now. Here's some options, hospice and all that stuff. Here's all these other options. Like, what? And you kind of know it, but they don't really tell you. Because they like, especially if they like you, they don't like you, they'll just tell you, but they like this because they've been with us for a long time. So oftentimes you get hints. They won't even let them see the real, they wouldn't even let them see the real doctor. You know, I saw him that time, so it was very interesting. And you kind of got the hint though. We had one nurse that was like, hey, listen, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Ain't much they can do. And there are other people like, don't say that. Stuff like this. So.
That restriction was planned to be lifted in March this year, but yesterday the Canadian government put forward a bill to delay it for another year.
My name is Roger Foley.
There have been long-held concerns about MAID, including the idea pressure would be placed on patients to take up the option.
The hospital assistants and nurses were trying to coerce me into an assisted death by threatening to charge me $1,800 per day or force discharge me without the care I need to live. I felt pressured by these staff raising assisted dying rather than relieving my suffering with dignified and compassionate care.
The thing about this, I'm going to tell you, in America, this is for sure true. Again, Ruby, go back to Thursday video. Ruby can answer this for herself on Canadian healthcare. In America, they will 100% do this. They will give you so many medical bills that you would prefer this over setting your family in so much debt. They will put your family life-threatening debt, everyone, in this situation. And it's insane, it's inhumane, and they'll do it just so you leave them alone. And because they can't, I don't think they can give you this option unless it's terminal. Yeah, I can see this actually happening in America. I do not know about, like I said, I don't know. But this man, according to him, it does happen too in Canada.
For some, this latest change was meant to be about correcting discrimination, arguing mental and physical health should be treated equally. But for others, the delay...
I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'm going to talk about it in a minute.
Has brought relief.
It seems to me that offering death to people in the moments of greatest vulnerability, fragility, is profoundly unethical.
I actually do agree with this, and I'm gonna tell you why. You go to the VA. Like I said, we went to VA every week for almost 3 or 4 years. Well, the last 2, and then every time before that, you talk to people in the VA, which is horrible the way America treat their veterans. Even though the one in Jackson for us did really great, they shout out to the doctors we had. But you can talk to some of the people, and if you offer them this, they will 100% take it. I'm just saying, if you offered it to those sickly people, even if they could get better, like just imagine offering this to a person who just went through their first few weeks of chemo and they feel absolutely terrible. I've seen the effects of chemo. I did. I've seen the effects of chemo and they feel terrible. They will easily take this. Mental issues, people that done seen war veterans and stuff, they will easily take it. Especially if they just coming out of an option, like they just came out of like a surgery or a bunch of pain and have a bunch of pain. They'll take, because I know they'll drug up on medicine easy.
I have a patient, I'm in the middle of treatment, the middle of medication trials, and the family doctor came along and kindly, from her perspective, offered MAID. The patient said, yeah, why don't I just die?
Proponents argue safeguards have been designed within the law, arguing applying for MAID is not the same as thinking about suicide.
You have to separate suicidal ideation from wanting to access MAID for a mental condition. We believe the practitioners are very good at sorting out suicidal ideation.
I don't know how you can. To be honest, again, this is Ruby's field, but I do have heavy questions on. I have heavy questions. Like how do you judge the difference between just being temporarily in pain and just wanting to end it all versus having a? But we're not talking about we're not even talking about pain. We're just talking about just regular mental illness. Like if I'm depressed, how do you just decide if someone's depressed or not? What if a doctor just don't care and just like, oh, you want that? I don't have time to deal with you. I got too many other people doing, just sign off. Like, how do you prove that the doctors just won't do that? I already showed in these things in America, doctors will 100% do creepy and weird things. They'll sign off on drugs that you ain't supposed to get. They'll do all kind of crazy things.
But it's really important that we get this right, in that I think that a lot of the opposition has been around suicide when it is not.
However, organisations like the Society of Canadian Psychiatry say it's much more difficult to prove a mental health condition cannot be cured. Access to professional help has also been raised. Wait times for specialist services can be years long. The assessment period for assisted dying, only 90 days. And there's no...
For instance, let's go over another. My mom had breast cancer. She did trials instead of chemo. Trials worked for her. She is in remission, so it's great. You know what I'm saying? Life is great. What if she would have just said, yo, we ain't got nothing for you, take this MAID, you're going to be a hindrance to your kids, you're going to have so much debt that the world it's insane. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine if that happened. But she's a school teacher. She had good Medicare, which will probably go out soon because our Congress does nothing.
No requirement to have tried every available treatment.
So you can get death in 3 months while you're waiting for treatment for a disease that is treatable and where you could live decades, a very long, good life.
That's fair.
I'm telling you bluntly, I'm one of Canada's experts, and I can't predict who's going to get better. So when I have nurse practitioners and family doctors saying with confidence that they can, I'm not sure what to do with that, other than to respond that that kind of ideological approach is going to lead to people dying who would have gotten better with the right.
Like, this man's an expert. I know Ruby knows a little bit. I don't think she does the medical side, but this is only about mental illness. So I'm very curious about this and how Ruby feels about MAID. So again, one more time, Thursday episode. Go back and watch on June 22nd.
Right treatment.
Even before this latest planned expansion, the number of assisted deaths in Canada has continually risen. In 2021, they made up almost 5% of all deaths in the province of Quebec. In the UK, a new inquiry into assisted dying was launched by the Health and Social Care Committee in December. It includes learning from international experience.
Yo, 5% is not a good number. That's a high number for me.
What happens in Canada could influence our future plans.
Yo, shout out to the BBC News one more time. I don't know how y'all think. What do y'all feel? Do y'all think it should just be that easy? Even though they said it's not easy, but y'all saw them numbers. 2016, it was lower because it was only terminal, and then you saw how it shot up Once it hit a certain, let's go look at it again. Go look at this chart again. Once that law came, what, 2020, it went up, what? It went up a lot. Now this is the first year of it, so of course this is like a natural progression to me. I would be interested in seeing 2022 and 2023, did it go up? Because this is what 1,000, then it goes up about 1,500, then about 1,100, and then it shoots up to almost 2,000 more. Then it shoots up to almost 2,500 more. I don't know if that's a natural progression or not, but it doesn't look good. Cause I expect specifically these three probably, even this, I expect these four, but when they start jumping up a lot higher, it kind of be like, okay, this is just an option that we can easily just give and not have to deal with it. And now I'm always worried about doctors and other people just not wanting to deal with patients and just like, hey, you sick, you feel bad, you know, you can just take MAID, get it over with, you don't have to feel pain no more. Just imagine being tired of going to get chemo or something like that, or tired of getting shots, and now you sick, you sad and all that. I can see how it is. Let me know how y'all think. Again, like and subscribe. Go to Thursday video, see Ruby's opinion on this, because I'm gonna let her have the whole segment. I said how I felt about it. I appreciate y'all. Y'all in the comments. Y'all can also see what the people in our chat said. Y'all can leave a comment right here on the recorded video if y'all not, or just in the comments in general. I appreciate y'all.